Welcome to Independent Sources. I'm Vianora Vinca. In the hours after the earthquake hit Haiti 2 weeks ago, mainstream media went into high gear, using all their resources to reach and report on the devastated Caribbean country. But sophisticated technology and wide-open wallets were no substitute for intimate knowledge of the place or the people. For that, many journalists turned to Haitian Times publisher and Independent Sources producer Garry Pierre-Pierre. Garry became a source in New York for the New York Times, WNYC Radio, and other news outlets before leaving to cover the story himself. On this edition of Independent Sources, Garry reports from the country where he was born on the personal and the political aftershocks that will be felt in Haiti for years to come. We explore what could lie ahead for Haitians living illegally in the U.S. And we tell you about some Chinese who were hiding in Haiti during the earthquake. Those stories and news of the week after this.
I think they're doing a wonderful thing. I think a lot of the Army has gone down. I think FEMA's gone down. The money's flowed in. I think it's not just the U.S. I think a lot of individuals have given money, other countries. I think it's actually been a really touching and supportive outpouring from all around.
Well, it's very important, since Haiti is virtually a neighbor of ours, that we help them in any way possible. We're raising money, we're sending troops, we're sending food, we're sending medical supplies, doctors, so I applaud that.
For Independent Sources co-host Garry Pierre-Pierre, coverage of the earthquake in Haiti is both professional and extremely personal. Garry is Haitian American and the publisher of the Haitian Times here in New York. He started the newspaper after working for the New York Times, where he shared a Pulitzer Prize. Garry has been in Haiti for nearly 2 weeks, and he joined us from there via Skype. Hi, Garry. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Vianora.
Give us a sense of what the city looks like right now.
Well, right now, Port-au-Prince looks like a city that's been bombed. I mean, I drove around downtown area, and the earthquake really did a number. Just about every building is knocked down to the ground or is really crumbling. There are very few people out there. You still have a smoky haze out there. And ironically enough, there's a lot of traffic because people are trying to get out in one way or the other. And so it's really chaotic.
You also were mentioning to me a few days ago that the government is providing buses to people to leave the city if they have family outside in the country. How much of that you're seeing, and what else is the government doing for the people?
Well, yes, Vianora, the government is still providing those buses for people to live in the countryside. Yesterday, according to the government, about 300,000 people had already left Port-au-Prince to the provinces. And that's not counting American who live here, Haitian Americans who live here. There's about 40,000, according to the American Embassy, that's been evacuated so far. And so you get a pretty idea of, the massive exodus, because this is a city, they said, of 2 million people. The government is going to need about, 3/4 of them to get out so that the cleanup to begin properly. The government, they've been doing a good job picking up bodies on the streets. They've picked up about 111,000 bodies or more so far. And the police, you have some police presence in the streets. But as far as a functioning government, there's very little signs of that. All the major buildings have been destroyed. And so they seem to be rudderless right now.
What about the Haitian president, René Préval? He spoke to the people a few days ago. What exactly did he say?
Well, I mean, it was a few days too late, frankly. By the time he spoke, people had already moved on. They were really angry that, he hadn't been seen. Basically, he tried a feeble effort as telling people that he felt their pain. But, because his palace, as he called it, has been destroyed, where really it's the people's palace that's been destroyed. And so right now he's not well seen by people. There's a lot of criticism about his lack of leadership in this crisis. I mean, he should have been out there walking around, letting people know that he's there, he's with them. but he didn't do that, and that's really disheartening.
How much of the U.S. presence and aid is felt on the ground, and how does it compare to the rest of the countries there?
Well, the U.S. is de facto in charge of this country. I've seen some rangers, they're everywhere. But the problem is, we don't see the aid convoy as we were expecting it to by now. It's been 2 weeks since this happened. And frankly, it's a miracle that more people haven't died, really. But if they don't get the aid quickly enough to people, medicine and all of that, then I think the catastrophe is going to be amplified unnecessarily so. A lot of these things can be prevented with some good logistical support.
And why is the aid not getting to people fast enough? Why do you think that is?
Well, there's like I mentioned before, the government ineptitude, but also I think the city is overcrowded. It's really difficult to navigate the streets here. They are relatively small streets. Sometimes you have 3 or 4 lanes rather, and narrow streets. So then you have this backlog, this traffic jam, and people can go anywhere. I think that's part of the problem. But I believe if there was better coordination with helicopters and stuff like that, you could have gotten better aid. But the government, although they provided the buses, but they're not encouraging people to leave the city. To go back to the provinces where they have families. So if they had done that, I believe there would be a larger exodus of people, and they would have been able to get the aid to people where they wanted, where they need them.
There's been some concern expressed right after the earthquake hit that there will be violence and looting. Have you seen any of that? We've seen some reports on CNN related to this. Have you seen any violence or looting happening? And what if the aid doesn't come soon enough, as you say? Do you expect that happening?
Well, I think the report of violence were rather premature. People were anticipating something that wouldn't happen. There have been some, obviously, but not to the large extent that people expected. I remember I was interviewed in CNN. That was one of the questions they asked. And I'm at the point that I want to reiterate it here, is that the violence that people usually associate with Haiti is usually political violence. It's not social violence. And so those are 2 very distinct type of violence that sometimes the American audience doesn't quite understand the difference. This is a humanitarian tragedy. And, most people are not looking to loot and to pillage. What they need is some water and something to eat. If they find that, I think for the most part, they'll be all right. But then again, people are getting frustrated right now, and they know that aid has arrived. I mean, people know that there's been a lot of donations to Haiti, but it hasn't been trickling down here fast enough again.
Let's talk about the relations with the Dominican Republic. There's some history of hostility between the countries. You had to personally travel from the DR back and forth to Haiti. You've crossed the border several times. How was that process, and what's been the response of DR to the disaster?
Well, I think the DR has been, a great neighbor to Haiti, despite, as you mentioned, century-old animosity between the 2 places. I mean, the Haitians couldn't ask for better cooperation. The Dominicans were the first people in Haiti on the ground working, providing medical care, ferrying people back to the Dominican Republic for acute work, because it took the international community several days, a couple of days before they hit the ground here. And the Dominicans really were holding fort. Also, too, I think Leonel Fernandez, the Dominican president, and Rene Préval, his counterpart, have a really strong working relationship. And so overall, I mean, Haiti could not expect it any more from the Dominican than they have. They've been really gracious neighbor. And so really, I've crossed the border many times. I mean, I am an American citizen. I have an American passport, but the people I travel with are Haitian citizens, and there's been no problem whatsoever. And really, that was another worry that many people had about, how would the Dominicans reacted. But I think at the end of the day, the Dominican officials and people realize, hey, this is a natural tragedy. They share the island of Hispaniola with Haiti. This could have happened to them as well. In fact, last week on Wednesday, we had another tremor. Well, there was not more than a tremor. It was a 6.1 earthquake. And it was felt in Santiago, Dominican Republic. And so, you know, they're not immune to this. And so they've been really, really well. They should be really lauded for the aid and the help that they're providing to Haiti and allowing the international community to use their border unfettered. They never really give anybody a hard time. I specifically watched that. I mean, border towns are kind of, you know, interesting, you know, if not sleazy and whatnot. But, you know, there was not much bribe taking place. The Dominican official, nor the Haitian officials, no one was taking advantage of the situation. You know, they let you through and without any problems.
And Garry, what's the state of the local media there?
Well, they've been decimated. They've been hit pretty hard. Many of the reporters, journalists, media owners have been hit personally with this. A lot of the towers were knocked down. For the last 2 weeks, only 2 stations have been in the air, but today I was driving to the hotel where I'm talking to you now. I was channel surfing, and I noticed that there were a handful of stations back on the air. Port-au-Prince has about 80 radio stations, and so now I think there's about 5 or 6 operating regularly and with more coming on every hour.
Garry, we'll have to leave it at that. We look forward to additional reports from you, from Haiti, and when you get back to New York, stay safe.
Thank you, Vianora.
Now, here's Abi Ishola with some other news making headlines.
Thanks, Vianora. Here's a look at some headlines from the ethnic media. From Iran Times, Congressman Gresham Barrett wants the United States to stop issuing visas to Iran nationals in order to keep terrorists out. The South Carolina Republican introduced legislation that would ban the admission of every Iranian national unless they're seeking political asylum or emergency medical treatment. Congressional sources say Gresham is unlikely to receive a hearing for this bill. Carib News reports that over 100 immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America have died in private U.S. immigration customs enforcement jails within the past 6 years. Family members of the victims say their loved ones died after receiving poor health care. They also complain that their relatives were subjected to physical and mental abuse while held at various immigration detention centers. The ACLU has been fighting to correct the issue after a 52-year-old Barbadian woman died while in custody in Virginia in 2005. From the Filipino Reporter, tenants at Stuyvesant Town and Peter Cooper Village are waiting nervously as the Manhattan complex faces financial troubles. Owners of the complex are now in default of their mortgage after missing their $16 million loan payment. The multi-million-dollar complex is home to over 20,000 middle-class residents, including dozens of Filipino families. Observant Jews are concerned that full body scanners at airports may jeopardize their duty to remain covered up. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA, recently announced that it plans to expand the use of full body scanners since the Christmas Day terrorist threat in Detroit. Full body scanners generate 2D images that create sketches of the naked body. That from the Jewish Forward. And finally, from the Italian Tribune, sci-fi is crossing into sci-fact. A team of scientists from an Italian university hospital that specializes in health sciences implanted electrodes into the arm of an Italian man who lost his left forearm in a car accident. The technology allowed him to control the robotic hand with his nervous system, though it wasn't attached to his body. Those are just a few headlines from the ethnic media. Back to you, Vianora.
Despite continuous coverage of the earthquake and subsequent events in Haiti, there are some stories you won't find in major mainstream media. We discovered one last week in the World Journal, a Chinese language daily. It was about people in China desperately seeking information on relatives trapped in Haiti. These were not aid workers or medical personnel, but Chinese who were on their way to the U.S. illegally. Zyphus Lebrun talked with a community leader here in New York about the use of Haiti as a transshipment point for undocumented Chinese immigrants.
Mr. Wong, thank you for joining us today. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on now. A number of Chinese are using Haiti as a waypoint to come to the United States. Could you explain how this works?
Well, basically, this is like the tip of the iceberg. The Chinese smuggler have been using Haiti as a stepping stone since late 80s, early 90s, and it's only approximately 1,000 kilometers away from Miami, and then they can put them into speedboats, or they can fly them from Haiti into Mexico and then cross the border. So the living expenses, everything will be a lot cheaper.
What is the connection between China now and Haiti? Are there people working both sides, essentially?
We have the Chinese underworld, from mainland China, and also from Taiwan, working together, and of course, with a group of Haitian underworld. So they all working together to make money. And Haiti is, have a diplomatic relationship with Taiwan. So a lot of Taiwanese underworld, like using the phony passport, photo sub-passport, to bring the people from Fujian province into Haiti, and so they can house them and continue the journey later on.
Do you know of specific areas in Haiti that these people are being housed?
Port-au-Prince or border Port-au-Prince, because when the smuggler is being smuggled into Haiti, they will be put in a warehouse or work in a restaurant, or they will put in a safe house.
Do you know how much, these immigrants are paying to be moved from China to Haiti and then into the United States eventually?
Nowadays, they have to pay between $85,000 US to $90,000 US, so they can be smuggled from China into United States.
It seems that this has been going on and it hasn't drawn a whole lot of attention from the authorities.
Yeah.
Am I right to assume that?
Yes. Yeah, you're right on the money.
It seems that you know about it, I know about it, and some other people know about it. Why haven't the authorities done more to address the situation?
I would say immigration also know about it, but immigration don't have enough case fund. Every time when you have to run a smuggling case, you have to have a case agent, you have to have supervisor, you have to have agents, you have to have intelligence, you have to have case fund. Without case fund, you cannot run a case. Then you have to fly people back and forth from America into Haiti. And Washington will not look at the prospect, will only look at result.
Do you think, by talking about it here, by stories in the World Journal, the stories in other newspaper stories on our program, are you hoping this will draw more attention to the issue?
Well, of course, I would like people to pay more attention to it. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be the case. All the major, media were focusing how many people being rescued, and maybe a 5-year-old kid being rescued, and a little baby survived. This is a good story. And they're not looking forward to find some Chinese smugglers, being housed in Haiti, or thousands of people being, using Haiti as the part of the smuggling route. This is not the right time to tell any government, this is the problem, because they all focusing, on search and rescue. Every country and we're trying to claim some credit, and how many bottles of water they issue, how many people they treat.
Have you had any success in identifying any of these people that these folks have come in asking you about? Has there been any word from any of them that they've survived, about their well-being in general?
I found close to 70 survivors. Within 2 days, I found 27 individuals, 25 male and 2 females, and they're all willing to go back to China. And contact was made between themselves and the Chinese rescue team. And a group of 40, they escaped from a safe house with over 100 people. The enforcers was still trying to hold, keep them there, but 40 of them managed to escape. and contact was made. And then, at least 15 of them wanted to return to China. The smugglers, were spreading rumors right now, telling all the people, all the smugglees in Haiti, Chinese smugglees, that sit and wait, became refugees, and get on the U.S. Carrier and come to America, because America is going to save every Haitian, every people in Haiti. This is part of the earthquake, relief.
Mr. Wong, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for joining us.
They should boost them a little bit and see how they're going to do after that and then leave. Because I think Haitian people, it's time for them to take their life in their hands now.
Well, I would say indefinitely, given that our embargoes have certainly contributed a lot to the poverty that's been there long before this disaster hit. So I think we have to make a long-term commitment.
We should focus on really life in general. I think they can give as much time as humanly possible overall. I really can't put a timetable on. We have so many issues, as you well know, with terrorists and everything else that's going on in the world, but this is something that is catastrophic, and it needs to be given full attention to as much as we can.
An estimated 100,000 to 200,000 Haitians are in the U.S. illegally. The Obama administration has offered temporary protected status to undocumented Haitians living here at the time of the earthquake. TPS, as it is called, will allow them to live and work in the States for 18 months before having to return to Haiti. I'm joined by Ronald Aubourg of the Consortium for Haitian Empowerment. Tell us, please, how exactly will the TPS affect Haitians living in the U.S. as well as their families back home?
Well, Vianora, this is a designation that we have been advocating for the past 5 years. As you can remember, the devastation of the hurricane back in Haiti in 1998. We had actually the Bush administration, based on the criteria that have been set forth for other nationalities, Honduras, El Salvador, Somalia, and then the Sudan, that we think that we have the same, we are positioned in the same situation for the administration to afford TPS to Haitians. We met with the Bush administration, people from the State Department, officials from the Office for Resettlement, but nothing was done. Up until the election, Obama was elected, we met, the coalition met with the transition team, discussing the need for TPS. Then again, we were met with a no. Until last October, Obama himself did issue a statement saying that the Haitian issue will be dealt with in the overall immigration reform. But TPS, we welcome TPS because we think that we were ripe for it. However, we think that TPS is just a start. We think that along the way, the Obama administration should afford Haitians permanent residency. It will allow us to work here and send money back home that is badly needed as we speak.
How significant do you think that the help coming from people now able to work in the United States will be for the country?
Well, it will be a tremendous help. People have lost their entire families. People have lost their homes. People have lost their livelihood, all that they have worked for all their lives. And now that we have this situation with the earthquake, but what we hoping for is for Haitians to have that path to permanent residency, so they will not have to go back home and add insult to injury.
So let's tell the audience what does usually happen after these 18 months. The 18 months, are they enough to, for people to significantly contribute to the rebuilding of the country? And what's going to happen to them after this time?
Well, we're hoping, and as we speak, we are advocating for an extension, and also if, in fact, that I know it's politically charged for the Obama administration to afford permanent residency to Haitians, but this is the moral thing to do right now, because we do not have a home to speak of. We do not have a home to go back to, and I think that it would be morally right for the Obama administration to think about a policy similar to the Haitian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act, which was signed into law by President Clinton back in 1998 for Haitians, affording about 55 to 60,000 Haitians permanent residency.
We hear a word of concerns over fraud in relation to applications for TPS. Have you heard any of that, and what are the community organizations doing to help Haitians apply for the status?
Well, we are providing information through several networks. We have, our consortium has about 22 community-based organizations. We are feeding them the right information, and we are inviting them to clinics that will provide them the right information. Yes, we are concerned about people abusing the system. We are concerned about people abusing, overcharging those applicants who qualify for the designation. But our overall concern is the fact that within that population who is qualified, we want to make sure that the information that they receive, that they truly qualify, because you may be eligible but not qualified, meaning yes, you're a Haitian national, yes, you've been here before January 12, 2010, but for example, if you are a hardcore criminal, if you have a long rap sheet, if you've been jailed, if you've been in trouble with the law, you're not qualified.
And you're doing great work in the community. Ronald Aubourg, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Vianora, for having me.
I'm sure we're going to revisit the issue in the weeks and months to come. We'll be right back.
I've been part of the whole immigration issue. So I had a work visa, so I know how hard it is to not be able to work. And I think it's great that the United States is helping with that, because I'm sure there's a lot of help that is required back home to those who are here. So I think it's very good if they help people that way.
I think it's incredibly important that we help the people of Haiti in every single way that we can, and the Haitian people living in the United States, I think, can be a huge source of economic support for those in their homeland. So I think it's a great measure, and I applaud the administration for moving forward with this.
That's our show. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week. In the meantime, be independent-minded.